Hello my lovely friends. Today I will talk about a somewhat controversial topic, and as you might know, I'm not the best at talking, but I'm trying to branch out and do more talkative videos and not just reviews and things like that. So please bear with me, I will try to do my best to talk. But keep in mind that I'm not the best at expressing myself, especially not in English, but that's not an excuse. I'm just not a good talker overall. So please bear with me, and I hope that you will enjoy this video. I think that most people who are creators or creating some kind of beauty content on internet is dreaming about receiving PR. If you are someone who creates beauty content on social media like on TikTok or Instagram or maybe even YouTube, you have probably been thinking about how cool it would be to receive PR from your favorite brands. And that's totally fine, but I will talk about the other side of it. While it's super cool to be discovered by the brands that you love, there is also a bittersweet side of it, and that's what today's video will be about. And there is actually some downsides of receiving PR from brands that not many creators talk about. But keep in mind that this video is a mix of my opinions, but also things that I have heard from my creator friends. So I bet that not all creators feel the same way as I do, but I will talk about how I feel about this topic. But before I start to talk about the points, I just want to express that I'm super grateful to receive PR from brands. I know that it's a privilege and it's not something that I am sad about. You know, it's so fun to try out different products, but it can also be some negative sides to it, and I think that's important to talk about too. Number 1. Pressure to create content. Even though that it's not obligated to create content for the brands, I can sometimes feel stressed out when I have too much on my table, and it can be hard to follow the scheme. And this is just my own time scheme, because I want to express my gratitude and appreciation for the brands when they spend money and time to send things out to me. Nowadays I don't accept as much PR as I did before, because I want to pick the things that I think I will be able to use. But sometimes brands sends out things when you have no idea about it, and then you have to kind of think about, will this fit my content or not? Another reason to why I try to post as much as possible is because I want to help my followers or friends to make decent decisions when they are planning to purchase something, because I know that people trust my opinions, I know that they like my swatches, and then I feel like it's maybe not my responsibility to do it, but I feel better if I have done it since I already own the product, and if it can help someone, it's really great. It's a win-win. But it's this time aspect that I'm talking about, that sometimes I have too much content to create, and that can really stress me out. But one thing that has helped me to get rid of this mindset is to actually think about, if the brand doesn't feel that I'm making the content in the right time, they are probably not even worth my time, because yeah, it's just how it is. We live in a stressful environment. I'm not getting paid for creating content with the PR unless I'm actually doing something that is paid, you know. The second thing kind of goes hand in hand with the first point, and that is, if I don't post my planned content, I will get delayed with my other content that will be following. It's just a bad circle, because that means that all my content will be delayed and delayed and delayed. And that means that if I want to create content with something, I really need to jump into it as soon as possible, otherwise everything will be messed up, you know. Number 3 is not feeling good enough. And what I mean by this is that if a brand suddenly stops sending PR to me, I can start to question if my content isn't good enough for them. And it is not always the case, but it really makes me question if I'm not good enough for the brand. I have a different mindset with brands who rotates their PR team and sends out different products to different people. I have no problems with that. But with brands who regularly sends out PR to the same people, it can definitely impact my self-esteem if they just suddenly stop sending PR to me without telling me any reason for it. With that being said, I always see PR as a bonus and not the obligation from the brands to send me something. At the end of the day, I understand that they need to make good decisions and choose creators that gives them something that can make them sell their things, because that's what the PR people are doing. They are basically sales people for them. But what I'm trying to say is that I wish that more brands were better with their communication and more transparent. For example, some brands have been telling me that we can unfortunately not send this collection to you because we can't afford it, or it will be delayed, or we have decided to send PR to other people. And I have no anger against those brands who does this, because I prefer a clear communication. That's the thing that I want from brands, not necessarily receiving every product that ever is released from the brands. With communication, it makes me feel like, okay, it wasn't my fault that they stopped sending things to me, it was because of and that makes me feel a lot better. Number 4 is something I personally haven't had happening to me, but I know that it has happened to other people. And that is risking friendship if you are doing a negative review. This only applies to brands you obviously have made a connection with. Maybe you see the brand owner as a friend, and that's a tricky one, I have to say. Luckily, I don't have much experience of this myself, because most brand owners has appreciated my feedback and even made their products better because of what I have said in my reviews. And I really appreciate brands who listen to feedback and tries to do something about it. That's the brands I want to work with, and that's the brands I want to purchase from. But I know for sure that some brand owners can't stand any form of critique, but I will never tone down my opinions about something just because I want to stay friends with a brand owner, because in the end of the day I don't want to have false friendships with anybody basically, but especially not with brand owners, because free products isn't everything in this world. If it impacts my relationship with the brand owner, it actually tells more about the brand owner than me, I would say. I'm not the kind of person who can talk positively about a product that I don't like and then go to bed and sleep and know that my friends has bought this product and then they receive it and get super disappointed. Of course, we can all have different opinions, and it's probably very hard to avoid that my friends or followers are buying a product that they don't like based on my reviews, because everyone has different preferences, and that's totally fine. But if I go in with the mindset that I'm reviewing a product that I know is really bad and it hasn't any quality whatsoever, and then talks positively about it, it will not be good for anyone. The brands will never be able to change their formula. The people who buys the products will never trust my opinion again, and I will not trust myself anymore. And I wonder if this is something that probably will impact my career as a creator in the long run, because I'm not good at lying and I will never be good at it, so yeah. But on the other hand, I think it's more important to be authentic and tell the truth, and hopefully people will enjoy that more than people who raves and is obsessed with everything. Number 5 is ghosting, and that means when a brand reaches out to you and want to work with you, they are so excited and then suddenly they get cold feet without any explanation. I understand that it happens, I understand that they have changed their plans or something, but if they don't say anything at all, it makes me not want to support this brand, it makes me not want to purchase them with my own money, because they both wasted my time and their own time by ghosting me. And sadly, this has happened with quite a lot of brands. I don't know why it happens, but it really sucks, because I want to support some brands, but I simply can't, because they did stop to reply to my messages, even though that the brand was the ones who reached out to me first. And you might think, is that really a big deal if the brand just starts to ghost you? But I will tell you why I think it's a big issue. And that is because if they treat their creators this way, I can't imagine how they will treat me if I'm just a normal customer. Because if I buy something and something maybe goes wrong and they want to reply to the emails, what will happen? There you go. It probably means that their customer service is equally as bad as their PR team people. And number 6, receiving PR can actually be quite costly. Some people might think that PR is completely free, but that's not the case. I actually pay quite a lot of taxes and custom fees to receive the PR, and therefore I need to be more careful with which brands I want to work with. It's quite a lot of things that people doesn't know behind the scenes, I would say. At the end of the day, I try to accept PR from brands that I'm curious to try out, or if I already know that I like the products, or maybe already would have bought them myself. Another point that is highly personal and only applies to people who have a big collection like me, but that is that you don't really have a lot of time to use your own collection. I sometimes say to my friends that I kind of miss the times when I just could pick whatever product in my collection and use it, but to be honest with you, that's not the reality for me anymore. This isn't any way for me to brag that I receive a lot of PR. It's just the simple fact that I have 2 eyes, I have 1 face, and I have too many products. Despite that I receive PR, I actually purchase quite a lot of products myself. I have gotten a lot better at it, and I try to not purchase more than I can use. So I try to focus on products that I know that I will use up, that I know that I will get a lot of use of and be able to rotate in my collection. And I also try to shop my stash and combine old with new products. But sometimes it's really hard to get that balance, especially when I'm doing my reviews, because the way I do my reviews is that I focus on only using that product during the time I'm doing the review. For example, when I'm reviewing a palette, I only use that palette and don't want to bring in other single shadows or other palettes, because I really want to know how that specific product performs on its own. And I know that not everyone works that way, but I prefer to do it that way, because what if I create some looks with other products mixed in and then I give a false review? For example, I know that some people add matte black in their eyeshadows, but that does mean that the palette that you are reviewing misses something, and in this case it means that it misses a black eyeshadow or deepening up shade, and that's a point that you maybe probably wouldn't talk about if you include other products in your looks. I feel like this is something that is really important to put into consideration when you're doing reviews, because not everyone has like 100 palettes or more. A lot of us does, but not everyone. And then if they are trying to find a review, they really want to know if they can use the palettes on their own. And there is just some information that they will miss if the reviewer doesn't talk about those things. I think that this was all for this video. I hope that you did enjoy this more chatty kind of video. And I would love to know if you are a creator and receives PR, or if you are someone who wants to receive PR, and what you think can be the negative side of receiving it. Please consider to subscribe if you want to know more about indie makeup or colorful makeup or crazy looks. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon. Not feeling too and I and but if they don't, because planned shit, herregud, creator prod with that. It's a quite common talk about a subject. And this kind of this point goes kind in this. The second thing goes kind of in hand. The second thing, even though that it was the with brands who regularly subject can